Your family certainly needs that. Okay? Next is retirement. Okay. People are living a lot longer nowadays. There are a lot more old people, and you're going to be in that space later on. So you should be able to support yourself well beyond 60. If you're 60 now, you're expected to last to 90 a lot more than before. If you're 60 now, you're 80% expected to last more than that. So you should make provisions for your retirement. Unfortunately, in the Middle East, there's no social security system. So you have to do that yourself. Okay? Now, another way of calculating how much you need for your retirement is to look at 2/3 of your income. So if you're looking at, let's say, if I'm 25 now, and I'm making $50,000 a year, 2/3 of that income that I will need when I'm 65 would be about $59,000 every year, taking into consideration inflation. So if you're 45 now, if you're making $50,000, you will need $44,000 because some of those expenses you won't need anymore. If you're 55 now, you will need $38,000 to have the same level of lifestyle. So starting saving early, and this is the benefit of compounding. When you start saving early, you're able to build a better nest egg for yourself. So given this example, if you're 35 years old, setting aside $1,250 a month for the next 25 years, your $1,250 a month will become $818,000 in 25 years. As opposed to somebody who's 45 doing the same thing. By the time he's 60, his $1,250 will only be $345,000, as opposed to a larger amount of money if you had started earlier. So for many of you here, it's not too late to start doing that for yourself. Okay? Now, it's important to evaluate where you are in the investment cycle. Siyempre, wala ka na sa baby to young adult, so skip that. So you're looking at, if you're under 25, potentially just maintaining your own lifestyle. You're 25 to 35, probably quite a long way yet, but it's good to start building a nest egg for yourself. But if you're at the 45, 55 type of level, then it's important to be looking at the type of investments that you should be in, because your risk appetite should also be decided accordingly. Okay? So the types of investments you should consider will depend on what your appetite to risk is. Again, I will refer you back to the paper that I gave you. I believe towards the last page, if you look at it, there's a risk assessment questionnaire there. You see it? Because your risk profile will determine the kind of investments you should be in. So if you're quite an aggressive investor, then you will be looking at more into equity funds. If you're quite a balanced investor, you probably will be moving around a mix of equities, bonds, and some property. If you're a quite conservative investor, then you'd normally be in money market funds or even just putting your money in the bank. So quiz yourself, go through that, take a quiz, find out what your risk profile is. Okay? Now, irrespective of what's happening in the market, it still shows that investing in equities gives you the longer returns over a period of time. Now, when you're investing, it's always an emotional roller coaster, especially if the market is down. Yeah? Magkakaroon ka ng heart attack pagka yung investment mo, bakit red ngayon? Okay? But that's the reality of the market. So, it's taking advantage of which parts of the market are you entering or exiting is the most important thing. So, take a long-term view. As you would have seen in the study earlier, majority of those millionaires are in it for the long term in terms of investing. S in the PRISM, P-R-I-S, is savings. And that means saving from credit card debts. Because if you're looking at investing, let's say hinahabol mo sa investment a growth of 8%. Pero yung interest rate na binabayaran mo sa credit card is 24%. Ano yun? So before you even consider investing, get rid of your credit card debt because you're not doing yourself any good. You're paying 24% and hoping to make 8% on your investment. Zero out your credit card first. Second is saving for a rainy day. You never know when something happens. So have an emergency fund, which should at least be 5 times your salary. Who's got that? Biglang, ano yun? 5 times my salary. That should be your emergency fund. Alright, and the last bit would be your mortgage. The first thing that an expat will do when he comes abroad is build a house. Diba? Build a house na hindi nyo naman tinitirhan. Kasi andito kayo. So if you're buying property, let it be a commercial property contributing to your financials. Consider building one when you're going home. So therefore, prison in that order. Okay? Protection, retirement, investment, savings, and mortgage last. Okay? So these are my takeaways for you guys, your homework. One is, have a family meeting and calculate whether you are a builder of wealth or you are an under-accumulator of wealth. And then formulate a plan accordingly. Second is that financial fact find that you have. I know you receive a lot of stuff when you attend seminars, and sometimes that goes under the desk, but again, change should come from any of the speakers that you come today. And if you have to spend time and do your financial fact find, that should aid you in looking at your own financial circumstances today. Determine whether you have a surplus or not, whether or not it's right for you to do investing. And then, when you do determine that you have a surplus, prioritize. What do you want to do with your surplus? Okay? Next is, consider your risk profile. When you're looking at planning for your financials, look at what your risk profile is so that you're able to match the kind of investment you're going for with your risk profile. And finally, it's free. Talk to an advisor because they'll be able to take you through what your options are. Be that here in Qatar, be that there in the UAE, or wherever you are from in Bahrain, be that back home in the Philippines. Talk to an advisor. And one question I would ask an advisor, if he's providing me that advice, is I want to see what he has. Because it's one thing when he says, this is good for you, but he doesn't have it. Di ba? Anong meron ka? Do you have that too? Anong portfolio mo? Okay? So that is it. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Greg. If you have any questions, you can just raise your hands.
Questions, clarifications, violent reactions?
Okay, if there are no questions, may we request Mr. Jemar Tabile, CPA, Mr. Derek Tusi, and Mr. Lyndon Tagsino, our founding president of Qatar chapter, to award